Hello, my name is Jessica Smith, and this is the data overview with a focus on grades 3 through 5 math on the milestones for Jordan Hill Elementary. The intended audience for this overview is the leadership team and administration at Jordan Hill. The purpose of this overview is to provide the math milestone scores from the last 3 years and compare Jordan Hill Elementaries to the district, which is Griffin-Spalding County, and the state of Georgia. We will also identify the strengths and weaknesses of the math milestones and review the demographics changes over the last 3 years. For the purpose of accurate data, we will be looking at the 2014-15 school year, 15-16 school year, and 16-17 school year. The first thing we're going to look at is our CCRPI. Now this year, for 2018, that was just released, but they have revamped their calculations. Therefore, this year's CCRPI cannot be compared to any previous years. CCRPI is just a tool that Georgia uses to measure how well the school, the district, and the state are preparing students for the next educational level. So if we look at our CCRPI scores from the years, there was a slight decrease from 15 to 16 school year, but then a dramatic jump to 2017. Looking at the indicators, there could be a few reasons for the high jump from 2017. Was that all the indicators from 16 to 17, there was an increase. And all except for the percentage of English language learners having a positive movement from one performance band to a higher band. There was also a new component that was added for 2017 for the number of fifth grade, or the percentage of fifth grade students that completed a career portfolio, and Jordan Hill did have 100% on that. So that did help our score quite a bit. There was also a significant jump of students scoring at proficient or distinguished on assessments. In 2016, that was only 29.3. But then for 2017, it jumped to 36.5. So there is improvement for the indicators. But as I mentioned, 2018 does have a new revamped calculations. So the scores have changed and cannot be compared to any other year. The first thing we'll look at for Jordan Hill is the enrollment percentage by subgroup. The first thing you'll notice is the number of student enrollment throughout the last 3 years. It went from 410 students in 2015, jumped up to 487 students in 2016, and then decreased slightly in 2017 to 453 students. Now, keeping that in mind, if you'll notice the first thing right here in the middle for the EIP, there was a change between the 3 years. When there was a higher number of students in 2016, there was actually a lower percentage of students that were EIP. When the enrollment dropped, the number of EIP percentage actually increased slightly. Same thing with students with disability. When there was actually a higher number of enrollment, there was a higher percentage of students with disability, and as the enrollment decreased, that percentage actually decreased as well by 1%. Looking across the board for all 3 years, ESOL students do remain consistent. Although this is just the percentage, the actual number of students did change. So for ESOL in 2015, there was 20 students, which was 4.9% of the population. For 2016, there was only 19 students, which dropped it slightly. But then in 2017, the percentage stayed the same, but the number of students actually did change. So it went from 19 students in 2016 to 2017, there was only 16 students in ESOL, but the enrollment status actually, the enrollment of students actually dropped. Now the enrollment of students by race and ethnicity does stay consistent all 3 years, even with the fluctuation of the number of enrollments. Jordan Hill is a diverse school. We do embrace our diversity. And as you can see, we do stay consistent with the number of students based on their race and their ethnicity. Jordan Hill currently has a total of 30 teachers. This is not counting any of the paraprofessionals. We do have quite a few number of those as well, but this is just to focus on the teachers. It is predominantly female with only one male teacher in the school, and it is predominantly white with African American with 5 of those, and then 1 Hispanic teacher. So although the students are diverse, there's some diversity among the teachers. Now, there is a diversity among the teachers with the high degree that they have. The number of teachers with the bachelor's and master's do make up over half the population of teachers, with a quarter of it being specialists, and there's actually 1 teacher that has their doctorate. The years of experience, a majority of the teachers do have 1 to 10 years. Only 6 teachers have 11 to 20, and then 21 to 30 years, there's only 4 teachers. So we do have a wide range of knowledgeable content area teachers. This is just a look of the content weight for the math milestones for the 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. As you can see in 3rd grade, a majority of the content is on numbers in base 10, while when they get to 4th and 5th grade, although numbers in base 10 is important, the main focus is on fractions. In 4th grade, the fraction percentage is 30% content weight, whereas in 3rd grade, there is no content weight on fractions. So in that 1 year, students really have to get knowledgeable about fractions because that is what they're going to see on the milestones. As well as in 5th grade. 5th grade, fractions do stay the same as 4th grade, but numbers in base 10 actually goes up by 5%. The first thing we're going to look at is the 3rd grade math milestone scores for the years 2015 through 2017. There was a significant change from previous years to 2017. There was a decrease in the percentage of students scoring in the beginning level and an increase in the proficient and distinguished. This means that we're moving students to a higher achievement band and using effective teaching strategies to reach and push students to the next level. Now, in 2016, that's one of the things as we go through this overview, really focus on the year 2016. And in all 3 of these, it is in orange. That was the year that there was a higher number of enrollment and a higher number of students with disability and EIP students. So although the class size was for this, there was only 53, there was a higher number of students in those 2 subgroups. For 4th grade, this would be 3rd grade's 2015 students. So 2016 is 3rd grade's 2015 students, which was, they only had 78. So there was an increase in the number of students from the years. But as you can see, in 2016, there was quite a few students that were identified in the beginning and the developing levels, and not a lot in the proficient and distinguished. Now, there was an increase in 2017 in the number of students that met proficient and distinguished for 4th grade. For 5th grade, there was more students that moved to higher levels each year. So each year, the beginning level did decrease, and then the proficient and the distinguished levels increased every year. Now, overall, 2016 did have the higher enrollment with the higher percentage of students, but overall, in all 3 years, if you notice that the bars for 2016 is orange, the numbers of students in beginning and developing were higher all across the board. This is a comparison of the milestone scores for the school, Jordan Hill, the district, GSCS, and the state of Georgia. So if you notice for 2015, both the school and the district scored below the state in all 3 grades. 5th grade scored the lowest of all 3 grades across all bands. Across all of the school, district, and state. 4th grade met GSCS at 36% and was only 4% lower than the state. And third grade performed slightly lower than the district with only 1%, but still below the state. This is 2016. This was the year that we were looking at the previous data. So that was the one that we're really concerned about. So as you can see, we had a high enrollment of 487 students, and we scored below both the state and the district significantly. The data shows that Jordan Hill 4th and 5th graders performed well below, and 3rd grade performed slightly lower than the district by just 1%. Both the district and the school performed significantly lower than the state for 2016. So what could have happened? Were teachers not prepared to have larger class sizes with the large enrollment? Did the larger class sizes have an impact on student learning? This was the year that there was a higher number of students with disability and a higher number of students with EIP. Could that have been a factor of the scores not meeting the district and the state? That is something that we can look at and talk about as we move on with our data analysis. Next, we have 2017's milestone. As you can see, we did increase quite a lot. So Jordan Hill did actually exceed in 3rd grade with 36% from the district, and 5th grade with 32% from the district. So we're making progress here by 2017. The enrollment did drop from 487 students from 2016 to 453 students in 2017. So we were back to moderate class sizes. Could that have had a difference with how teachers taught and how students learned? Now, although we did make an increase from 2016, we still did perform below the state of Georgia, but we did perform at or above the district. So some of the conclusions of the data is that the strengths we have is that the number of students in the distinguished level in all grades have increased every year. 3rd and 5th grade moved more students from the lower levels to the proficient and distinguished higher levels. Some of the weaknesses is that in 2017, the percentage of 4th graders that performed at the beginning level rose by 15% from 2016. And there is still a large percentage of students in the developing level in all 3 grades. So what can we do? What instructional strategies can we put in place to help push those students into the higher achievement levels? Some of the weaknesses could be due to the higher increase of EIP students for 2017, which was 43.4%, which was actually the highest that the school has had over the last 3 years. Some of the discussion questions that we will discuss is how can we use data from our local assessments to improve the test results for our EIP and our students with disabilities, and what interventions can we put in place to move students from those lower achievement levels to the higher bands. I want to end this overview with this quote, that the goal is to turn data into information and information into insight. How can we utilize this information from the milestones for the last 3 years to improve our teaching and to improve student learning to help our students meet the achievement levels of proficient and distinguished? Thank you so much. If you have any questions, let me know.